Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Friday the 17th of October. So let's see what's happening on the market today, and I think we can expect a little bit of a volatile day. But first I have to say this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So let's start with having a look at Apple that once again yesterday tested this support area here around 245.5. A few days ago it actually closed below it, but we still had positive sentiment on the RSI, but it looks quite heavy. And with Nasdaq and the other markets indicated lower today, well, then we could see a break of it and then a bearish move lower for Apple and many other stocks for that matter. But let's have a look at Nasdaq 100. It was an okay day yesterday, a little bit bearish, but nothing to mention. We're still in this range here, and we'll say this is the breakout it needs to do, break out of this massive candle or massive move here, either to the upper side or to the downside. 24,186 and especially 23,969. And let's have a look at what's happening pre-market overnight. Selling in the future and the CFD US and Nasdaq 100 here could test this 23,965 again, and the 55 moving average during today's session. I wouldn't be surprised to do it. I'm not sure it will do it, but let's see. It looks quite heavy at the moment here pre-market. Also on the S&P 500, as you can see, down 0.63% yesterday, but also here pre-market we're lower. So here 6,550 key support for Nasdaq that should be observed. Dow Jones was already in a bearish trend really, with the takeout at that 45,757 and testing the rising trend line there after a bounce. Could push lower. I think we'll remove this one because it's not that interesting. This is 45,470. That will be the next key support. You can see it's been there twice. Looking at US 500 pre-market, also quite heavy. Currently at the 55 moving average, could test the 6,498 lows there, and if it takes it out, and I wouldn't be surprised because we are actually in a negative sentiment, as you can see here. So if it does, well, then we are looking at lower levels in the region around here, possibly 6,443, where we have the 100 moving average coming up. So that will be something to watch here today going into next week. US 30 CFD pre-market also lower. That's the Dow Jones CFD, and if it takes out the lows there, well, then we could be looking at lower levels. So it looks quite heavy at the moment. In Asia, they already warmed up on that with Hang Seng being beaten 2.75% this morning, and is in a downtrend. Support area around 25,000, 25 and 13, 24,800. Negative sentiment on the RSI indicating lower levels, so we could test this area here. Hang Seng needs to get back above 26,000 to demolish that picture. Nikkei also 1.8% lower here on the future. Still in kind of an uptrend, but it pausing, so I think we could see it sliding lower here also throughout the day and into next week. European markets already started on a bearish note at 1.4, 1.5% down on EuroStoxx50. As we can see, it is still keeping itself above 5,488. There's still a bit of way to go, but not the strongest one, so be careful about taking new long position. It's not a recommendation or advice whatsoever, but still be careful out there. I'll remove this one because this is really the key support here, 5,488. And we can see here on the CFD also quite heavy. DAX being beaten more than 2%, opened back below the cloud and below all the moving averages. That is not a good sign, my friends. It really needs to get back above 24,115 to stay in a positive trend. And for now, we had the warning of this top and reversal pattern there, so really heavy at the moment. And let's see here on the future, you can see here the CFD and future also sliding lower. So really under pressure, and it doesn't look too good. Let me jump back to the DAX index and just draw a line. So we could risk it seeing down here in the region of these levels here, around 23,300, possibly all the way down to these levels here. At 23, just above 23,000, where we have the 200 moving average. So maybe this October is still turning out to be ending on a bad note. Let's see, we're still in the middle of it, but there is some volatility going on. Let's see about that, and we needed a correction, but it could be bigger than I actually anticipated. Moving on to the FX market, where we also have a little bit of movement. Not so much in euro dollar, but it has bounced back above the cloud, trading at around 117. Can it really move up to 117.80 and take out that? If it can, well, then we have established a bullish trend. It's at least it's trying. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, but could push up there. So I would really hard to guess the direction. I mean, you can say we are in a bearish trend, lower low, lower high, lower low. What will this be? A lower high and then low again, or will it turn around? That is a bit hard to say at the moment. I mean, we are above all moving averages, and they are rising. We are above the cloud at the moment, so it's only our side that also needs to turn around, and we need to get back above 117.80. Euro sterling still in this bouncing mode, hasn't really done anything. Needs to take out 87.25. Sterling dollar has bounced, testing the 55 moving average and the cloud area. So let's see about that. Can it really get back above 135.25? If it can do that, well, then it could resume an uptrend, but we are still embarrassed. Lower low, lower high, lower low. Is this just a new lower high where it then will slide lower, or will it really turn around? Movements in dollar yen. Setting back here. I think we will see a test 61.8 retracement and the support here at 149.10. And this back down, we can also put it down there. So in this region, I think we'll see that, and then I think we'll see it bounce, because then we have this gap area here that is key. If it does close that, well, then this waning bullish scenario is totally gone, but it could bounce from there. I think it will. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. Euro yen also sliding lower after being hovering around the 38.2 retracement, and now below 50. I think we'll see it down to 61.8 at 174.40. Then we will start challenging this gap here, and that could be the name of the game later today, possibly early next week. Aussie yen already being beaten out. It took out the overnight yesterday and today. This gap area here, now it's actually much lower, testing the 100 moving average and the minor support there at 96.30, and the lower part of the cloud and RSI just above 40 threshold. I think this early morning when it dipped down to this level here around 96.30, it already tested 40 threshold. So will it hold, will it and bounce back, or will it break lower? And then we're looking at 95 level. Sterling yen also low. I think it will test this 61.8 retracement there at 200.45. Possibly also the lower part of the the upper part of the gap area here around just above 200. So that will also be key to watch throughout the day. I wouldn't be surprised that it could dip down to there and then possibly bounce. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, indicating we could see a bounce after that. But again, we don't know what sellers, how powerful they are at the moment. But they are in control. Aussie dollar Trading once again at this minor support there at 64.60. It did hold here the other day. It was dipped below. Now we dip below again. I think we will see it down to 64.15 area, and the 200 moving average dipping below. That's these the lows there, and then maybe a bounce. But it looks quite heavy. Negative sentiment on the RSI, indicating that we could push down to these levels there. The dollar Canada. Hold it on above 140, 140 quarter. We are in a positive sentiment. We are in bullish trend. We should slowly crawl higher. I don't have any strong resistance on the other side, but you can see it's formed like a cup here. I think it will slowly crawl higher. We can also see this is the fast area where it's in now. Could suddenly move fast. Let's see about that. But we still have the 200 moving average. It's dragging on it a little bit, so maybe a little bit of a setback, but it hasn't turned the bullish trend around unless we move back below 139.30. Sterling Canada broken above this resistance and peaks here at 188.40, pushing higher, and I think we'll see it pushing higher towards the 138.2 projection at 189.45, but I actually think we'll see it up towards 190, which is the 161.8 projection of this correction there. The Euro Swiss, massive move this morning, dip to the lows. We talked about the past few days that it could do that. It had the potential because we were negative sentiment, we were in a bearish trend, and this was not the strongest one, so it dipped down there. Now I think we will see a bounce. If it takes out that low there, that 92.15, it hasn't done it this morning, but if it does, well, then we are in a completely different situation. Let's see where we could actually move to. We have to go really far back. But as you can see, this is the level where it's bounced so many times, so it could do that again. Negative sentiment on the other side. We have to go probably, I don't know how far back, really back to 2015. This where the floor or the ceiling, if you will, was removed for the Swiss franc. So quite heavy at the moment. Dollar Swiss also lower, but it was in the cards the past few days. Talked about it after move back below the cloud, back below all the moving averages. Tested the falling trend line, now back below. Tested the support there, opened this morning below it and pushed lower, and at the 786 retracement now of this uptrend there, likely to push lower. Maybe a little bit of bounce trying to get back above here could be seen, but we are in a bearish trend, and I think in the coming days, weeks, we will, going into next week, we are likely to push lower, but expect a little bit of a counter trend up to around 79.25 maybe. Dollar index here at the 38.2 retracement, and still in the cloud, and the 100 and the 55 moving average looks a little bit heavy, but let's see if it can bounce back there. Then we could see it pushing up towards 100, but for now looking a little bit heavy. If it takes out the lows today, then I think we'll see it push lower towards the 61.8 retracement there at 97.17. On the commodities and metal side, we have gold. A new all-time highs today, $4,380 an ounce. Massive move, but today, what's gonna happen? Is it forming a bearish, a doji and a top and reversal? Hard to say, really hard to say. But it is quite stretched. We are still positive sentiment on the RSI, and let me just draw this one. You can see that we are in, let me make it lighter so we can maybe easier to see. There we are, flirting with it at the moment. There is no divergence, so we could push higher on gold, to be honest. Silver, same picture really, but starting to fade unless it pushes higher today. I mean, yeah, we got a new all-time high there, but as we can also see, at the moment there is actually divergence on the RSI, so unless it can lift that, well, then maybe we are in for a top. And a top is also look at the weekly. I mean, I don't think it's ever been this high. It really stretched on silver, 88 on the RSI, and here we were up at 85 area. That's really high on the RSI. And remember, can only go to 100, so it's really stretched and overboard. So be careful if you are trying to take long positions. Suddenly we could see be hit by a correction. We got a new high there on Platinum, new peak, and then it's setting back. So I have moved the Fibonacci here, so maybe we'll get a correction, maybe it'll push higher, but look, we have also divergence there on the RSI, indicating that we are also a little bit stretched there at the trend exhaustion, but if it takes out the peak there from yesterday, then it will continue higher towards 1800. But be careful, we could slide back. So it is a bit quite stretched there also. What is not stretched is copper. That it's sliding back, and it still did 515. It hasn't succeeded to close above, so could slide lower here. But I think we will see basically range bound between, and let me just draw that line there. This massive move there at 488.20. So a little bit in a limbo at the moment. Moving on to the energy market, we have crude oil that is pushing lower, being sold off. And let me just do this so we can see where we could be headed to for WTI. These lows here, I wouldn't be surprised to be reached within week, 2 weeks maybe. $55 on the WTI. It seems like we are headed that direction. Of course, there would be counter trends, but quite heavy there on the oil prices. The Brent crude oil, same picture, 58.40 is the lows here, back from April earlier this year, quite heavy, and the negative sentiment pointing to that direction. The European nat gas, still this range here, that should be up 30.73 and 33.90. US nat gas below the 786 retracement, below the cloud, flirting with the RSI 40 to go into berries. I think it will actually. You see, we are below all moving averages. We are below the cloud, and they are all declining. We could still see a counter trend, but the overall picture, I think it will slide lower. It needs to get it back above, well, actually get back above 320 to maybe establish a short-term bullish trend, but in bigger picture, I think we are with a bearish undertone. On the Treasury yields, we had Treasury taking out 4% yesterday, continuing this morning. Excuse me, continue this morning. And now we are looking at these lows there at 384. Let's see about that. So maybe it's indicating some trouble ahead. I mean, of course, we are happy that we have lower interest rates, but it could also be a sign that there's something going on in the economy that they're not too happy about. So flight to safety maybe to buying treasuries, but we are in a bearish trend nevertheless. Regardless of what's going on the US 10-year Treasury. Same picture on the European ones also. Let me just move on to that. We have the EU 10-year. You can see lower again this morning, spike lower below the 253 support there. And I wouldn't be very surprised that it push lower towards 248, maybe down to 244 area. But expect a little bit of a counter trend. Let me just go back, sorry. We'll try to get up to 260 and then we could have another go. The UK 10 got below the 450, trying to get back above, but let's see if it can succeed. But we could see it down to these lows here, around 441, 440 and 438. The the Japanese 10-year gapped lower this morning here. trading around the lower rising trend line and the 162 support area here. There has been below, trying to get back up. It needs to close this gap to maintain the bullish trend, but for now it's basically put in neutral. But the overall picture is still bullish. It's just being challenged at the moment. Finally, on crypto and Bitcoin, sell-off in Bitcoin, and let's see if I can push. There we are. Quite heavy, taking out 107,000. Pushing towards, well, actually now below 106, and we could see it down to around 100,000 here fairly shortly. Ethereum also bearish, has been in a bearish trend for a little while now, and we could see it sliding lower towards 3,400. It needs to get back above 4285 here. That's back up there to demolish the fairly bearish picture. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and be careful out there. Seems to we are going into some volatile days and possibly a few weeks from now on. And have a nice weekend when you get to there.